Hey guys, welcome back to the Blues Lesson Series. In this video we're going to be talking about thematic patterns. So you can come up with themes that would serve as like the main part of the song, kind of like we did with our shuffle patterns or the chord riffs, stuff like that. We're going to be talking about it more in the vein of soloing, improvisation, but it's built on the same principles. So anything can really become a theme or a motive, and it's kind of what you're trying to do when you're soloing. Find something that makes your ear perk up and you latch onto it, whether it be a rhythm or a particular set of pitches or a target note that you happen to be landing on. Any of those things can kind of start to blossom pretty quickly if you're just listening for it, using your ear. But we're going to be thinking about this very note specific and rhythm specific. So what I mean by that is if we're talking about blues in A, of course we have an A7 chord, a D7 chord, and an E7 chord. And so we're going to come up with a theme that fits the A7 chord, and then we're going to find the notes that create that same theme on a D7 and an E7. I guess the most basic way to think about it is if I was just going to play my root note of my A7 chord, my D7 chord, my E7 chord all the way through the 12-bar blues, then I would just be hanging on that note with whatever rhythm I wanted, and that's my A, and then D and E. All right, obviously that's not super musical, but you get the idea. That's breaking it down to a very simple analysis of it, or breakdown of it, so we can understand what's going on here. So I got a couple of themes here that we're going to do, and I'll explain it in more detail, but the first one is, that's the riff that we're going to make fit all three chords. So that would be for our A7. I'm using A the root, string 4 fret 7. I'm using the flatted third here with a little bend, C, string 3 fret 5. Going back to the root, jumping to D, string 3 fret 7. And then going back to my flatted third C on string 4 fret 5, or string 3 fret 5, sorry. So it's straight out of our A minor pentatonic box 1 pattern, right? Now, a very easy way to do that is to go find D minor pentatonic box 1, basically the exact same pattern. We're going to shift up to the 10th fret, and we can use the exact same strings and the exact same finger sequence and get that same sound, but it fits a D7 chord now, and we could do the same thing at the 12th fret for E minor pentatonic. So if we went all the way through the 12-bar blues, on the E there just for the turnaround. It could be A or E. I'm not worried about that right now. So that's just choosing the exact same pattern in A minor pentatonic box 1, D minor pentatonic box 1, and E minor pentatonic box 1. Sequences and patterns are very valuable on the guitar to help us visualize stuff. But to be able to do that in one position is also valuable. We have to move less, right? So less physical effort and shifting around. And maybe it teaches us a little bit more about what we're dealing with inside of box 1, or like we've talked about in previous lessons, finding A minor pentatonic, D minor pentatonic, and E minor pentatonic in one position, or at least closer positions. So using box 1 and shifting up the neck is a comfortable way to get it out pretty quick. But if we were to do that in 5th position here, then of course A is going to stay the same. And then for D, I'm starting on the root, string 3 fret 7, and then my 3rd is on string 2 fret 6, and my 4th is on string 2 fret 8. So it's just between those 3 frets. Again, string 3 fret 7 and string 2 fret 6 and 8, which is the exact same thing as inside of D minor pentatonic box 1 here. But with not much of a shift. So the notes that we're using for A7 are A, C, and D. The notes we're using for D7 are D, F, and G. And then for our E7, we have our root on string 2 fret 5, our flatted 3rd on fret 8 of string 2, and our 4th on string 1 fret 5. So that's taking it, being very strict and keeping it in one position pretty much. I do shift up for the D note there, but it's very close. So there might be more convenient ways to finger it, but we can play through that pattern in this position through the blues. So, one that I might change is that E, but it's aside from the point. These notes represent the same sound on top of each of those individual chords. On an A7 chord, A is the root, C is the flatted 3rd, and D is the 4th. Over a D7 chord, D is the root, F is the flatted 3rd, and G is the 4th. And over an E7 chord, E is the root, G is the flatted 3rd, and A is the 4th. So we're making that theme fit each chord, right? And obviously, as we discovered here, there's more than one way to do that, and in general, you can do that many different ways. But in any case, thinking about themes, listening for themes in your own playing, and then trying to kind of plant that seed and let it grow is a great thing to do, and doing it in a very strict manner like that is helpful just to get your ear accustomed to it and start thinking on those levels or in that manner. And then it can grow beyond that. I'm playing the same pattern for every measure, so it's not super exciting, but it gives you something that you can play on that chord, and then you can explore in some of the other measures, right? You start to improvise a little bit more. So it's still improvisation, but you're giving yourself something to latch onto a little bit. Not to say if you just use that pattern and maybe like alter the rhythm or something, there's many different little variations or modifications that you can come up with. So anyways, let's do another one. All right, so this one we're going to do in our individual minor pentatonic box 1 position. So we'll be at position 5, position 10, and position 12 for A, D, and E. So the A riff sounds like this. D riff. And the E riff. So all going to be on the same strings, just different frets. I'm using fingers 1 and 3 for the whole riff. So starting on our blues note here with finger 3, on our 4th, and then bending into the blues note, string 3 fret 7 on D, and then coming back down to fret 7, then a pull off from 7 to 5, and then fret 7 on string 4. Then a double stop bend, I'm barring at the 5th fret on strings 2 and 3. Just pulling on that a little bit, and then I go back to my root on string 4, fret 7. So that's the blues note, the 4th again, pulled off to the flatted 3rd, root, and then I'm double stop bending C and E, the flatted 3rd and the 5th, which is a common move, and then coming back to the root A on string 4, fret 7. Same pattern in each position, so you could shift that anywhere you like on the neck, just to practice the pattern and get it under your finger. So all the way through the blues. So play around with those, and even with something familiar, you get these under your fingers, you could probably or definitely very easily come up with something that is slightly varied based off of one of these. Make it your own, speed it up, slow it down, alter the rhythm, of course, or you can literally do anything to make a lick or a riff something else. It really just requires changing one note. Now, that's very simplistic, but that is true at the same time. So have fun with that, guys. Let me know if you have questions. And for those of you interested, try and come up with your own blues patterns and post videos on it. And if you have questions about it or just want to show it off or want feedback, anything, be excited to see what you guys can come up with. Have fun, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.